Good morning and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Saturday morning. I am up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It was a fabulous night last night, and this morning we are looking at taking an inventory of your preps. Yeah, as I'm sure you can tell from my face, I have not done that for a while. So this morning I'm full of good intentions. I got some chicken to go in the slow cooker. I've got some beef to go in the slow cooker. Got up and thought, oh, I'll have crumpets this morning instead of toast. I have one crumpet in the freezer. One. Normally I have about 20. So crumpets are obviously going on the list. And then I went to go and throw some onions in the casseroles in the slow cooker. I had two of the big 1-inch ice cube tray things. I froze caramelised onions in them. I only had two left. So I was like, right, that's fine. That's the beef done. Went to go and get the dried onions for the chicken. And I've only got one thing of dried onions. I used to have two. I am now like a third of the way down my last thing of dried onions. So this weekend I shall be buying a lot of onions. Not the little teeny weeny ones, because they'll take me like however many days to peel. But I shall be buying a load of onions, possibly the small ones, I can't decide. And we will be slicing them up in the food processor and throwing them in the dehydrator, because it's just so easy to have the onions dehydrated to throw into the slow cookers that I really, really do not want to be running out of them. We're also going to caramelise some more, because that's really nice to have for different flavours, depending on what I'm cooking. The beef stew today it's like a proper casserole. I've used the frozen casserole mix. So that's really good with the caramelised onions. What I also noticed, it says me, I'll just grab a handful of these. They're in my to be composted. Let me just see if I can show you. This used to be casserole veg that I dehydrated. Obviously it either wasn't sealed properly, or it should have been blanched or something. So that's just had to go in the compost pile, because I'm not putting that in my casserole. It just doesn't look appetizing at all. So that's another thing that I've been checking. I just went and checked the dehydrated stuff. As you know, when I first started dehydrating, I didn't realise what a big deal it was keeping it dark. That is a huge deal. So they're now in a closed cupboard. So I think that's possibly got something to do with that. So there shall be a lot of dehydrating happening in the next few weeks, just to get my stocks back. I've still got loads of mushrooms, but the onions I'm using so much that I'm like, right, I need to get the onions. I need to get caramelised onions. I need to get crumpets. I need to get Lorne sausage, the square sausage that we have in rolls here in Scotland. There's only about 3 or 4 slices of that left, which is, that's a Sunday morning staple. We cannot be doing without that. So yeah, shopping this week is going to be to build back up the stock of stuff that I had so much of before. And you buy more and you buy more and you're like, oh, for goodness sake, stop buying that. So you do stop buying it, but then you forget. And it doesn't take long until you suddenly lift out the bag going, oh my goodness, I've only got one of those. So yeah, that's been my morning this morning. It's because once I found out I only had one crumpet, and then I started doing the slow cookers and I only had 2 caramelised onions, I was like, I need to go find what I have and what I didn't. So I have done quite a bit of checking things in the freezers, checking things in the cupboards, and I am making a list, of which onions and crumpets feature quite heavily, and Lorne sausage. So yeah, keep an eye on your preps, people. Especially keep an eye on your freezers, because things just sort of fall through the gaps there. Or you don't use the top drawer in your upright for ages, and then you suddenly find out that you've got, what have I got? Oh yeah, this is what I found in the top shelf. I have some caramelised onions that obviously didn't fit in the ice cube trays, so they're there. I also have some chopped up peppers. So they've obviously been in the freezer for a while, if you can see all the ice. So they're going to just get thrown into the slow cookers this weekend, because obviously we use them rather than waste them. So yeah, But that gives me more space in the freezers to update what I've got. So we're just having a turnaround. So please do keep a check on your, especially the fresh food that you've maybe frozen, because obviously there's only so long you can keep that in the freezer. And then what I do is defrost it, cook it, and put it back in the freezer, because once it's cooked, it can go back into the freezer. You cannot refreeze it if you take it out raw, defrost it while it's raw. You have to cook it before you can put it back in the freezer. So they tell me. That's just the way I have always done it. You just don't put anything that's defrosted back in the freezer. You cook it and then put it back in. Hence the slow cookers. But it's great because that means that Kat and I, when we come in from work, there's going to be a whole load of Tupperwares. I have chicken chasseur, which obviously chicken, I had a packet mix for chicken chasseur that I had to use. But Kathleen doesn't like mushrooms. So instead of putting the mushrooms in, I have put a whole load of dehydrated sweet corn and some dehydrated peppers with the sauce. So that will do that. So now I'm going to go and have a much deserved cup of tea, and I'll catch you later.